Hello and welcome back to Women's Football Talk, the YouTube channel that brings you all the latest news and stories from around the world of women's football. Now before we get into today's video, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the post notification bell so you never miss a video of ours. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram for all the latest news and stories from around the world of women's football. Now Thursday saw the conclusion of match day 2 in the European Championships as we had Italy versus Iceland and France versus Belgium in two games that was going to be very interesting to see how Group D would end up looking heading into the final match day. So we'll start off with Italy versus Iceland. Now obviously Italy wanted to bounce back after their 5-1 defeat in match day 1 to France, whilst Iceland were looking to improve on their 1-1 draw with Belgium. And it was the perfect start for Iceland after they took the lead after just 3 minutes thanks to Karolina Vilnius-Dottir from a set piece, and it made Italy look very scared at the back after that early set piece and a couple of other set pieces, mainly throw-ins from youngster Svindisjana Jonsdottir, who once again was excellent for Iceland throughout that game. When she played, she had a few chances herself, but that was the perfect start for Iceland. And then Italy grew into the game as the first half weared on, but they just didn't look the same Italy that we haven't grown to know, and there was just a few bits missing. And then at half time the substitution was made, bringing on Barbara Bonassia, and she massively changed the game for Italy, brought them more into the game, gave them that more attacking threat as the second half went on, and they grew in absolute confidence. Bonassia was obviously awarded the player of the match, and rightly so, because without her influence in the game and bringing on, obviously she assisted Italy's leveller, which we'll get onto in a second, but I just think if Bonassia wasn't brought on, I don't think Italy would have got back into this game, because she just found that extra gear to motivate Italy into. And then speaking of their goal, just after the hour mark, Iceland had a free kick a couple of minutes earlier, and after Valentina Bermagaski gets a yellow card for the foul, and then Bonassia sets up Bermagaski, who levels it, and then it just seemed to give Italy that more confidence to go on and try and find that winner against Iceland, but it wasn't to be, and that really does leave the rest of the group poised now heading into this third game, because Iceland currently sits second with 2 points and Italy are at bottom with 1 point, so any of the three teams can go through, as well as obviously joining France in the knockout stages. Now obviously, speaking of France, they obviously won their game against Belgium 2-1, a game that they heavily dominated throughout the whole 90 minutes. It just looked like from minute 1 to 90 that France could have done exactly the same as they did against Italy in the first match, they scoring 5 or 6 goals. However, it only stuck at 2-1. Kadiadantu Diani scored after just 6 minutes after a lovely header on the back post where she was practically unmarked. However, they did lose Marie Antoinette Katoto about 10 minutes later due to an off-the-ball incident. She had already in the game had her right knee strapped pre-game, so it seemed to be an injury that she had carried into the game, but she was forced off, and she had an ice pack on it and was seen walking on crutches. So we're hoping that Katoto can make a full recovery. I'd imagine with France now already through, she won't be risked for that final game, but obviously France will be hoping to have her back for the knockout stages. And then out of nothing, Janice came and managed to pull Belgium level with the surprise to many, as it just throughout the rest of the first half, right up until that equaliser, so the next 30 minutes or so after the France goal from Diani, it just seemed to be pure France dominance, and then just one quick counter-attack, a lovely pass from Tessa Willart to find Janice Cayman, who slotted it past Pauline Perriot-Magnon to give Belgium the leveller. And then unfortunately that didn't last long, as Gridi Mbok Bahati put France back in front to give them the 2-1 lead heading into the interval. And then in the second half it was much of the same as the first. Pure dominance from France in terms of piling the pressure onto the back line of Belgium, getting some chances, but they just couldn't find a way to get that third. And then there was a bit of confidence growing into it as the second half went on. You always felt like Belgium had the potential to go and get a shock equaliser, but it didn't happen. And then late on there was some controversy as we was just about to enter stoppage time, as Amber Tysak of Belgium was shown a second yellow card for a handball incident, which I don't believe was a handball. Yes, it does strike a hand, but it wasn't really an unnatural movement, and a lot of people said online after the game that it was a very harsh decision by the referee, who initially didn't give the penalty but went over to the VAR screen and gave it after a few minutes delay. And then Wendy Renard stepped up to take the penalty. However, her penalty was saved by Nikki Everard, who has now saved 2 penalties in this competition, and then on the rebound Renard sent her shot wide. However, France won't care, as they've taken all 3 points and advanced through to the quarter-finals of the Euros. So overall, it's a good win for France despite a late Belgian push throughout the game. And then today sees the start of matchday 3. Now all these games will kick off at the same time, so both games in Group A will kick off at 8 PM tonight, and so on and so forth for the rest of the groups, because obviously in case of any permutations that could happen regarding the teams potentially going through, there's no chance of having like a slight bias to one team where their opponents may stop playing. So we have Austria versus Norway and Northern Ireland versus England from 8 PM tonight, UK time that is. Right, make sure you like and subscribe and turn on the post notifications, like I said at the start of the video, so you never miss out on our stuff that we have coming up throughout the rest of this Euros and any other news stories that break in and around the world of women's football. And make sure you're following us on Twitter and Instagram for all the latest breaking news. And until next time, we'll see you soon.